Our next speaker is Brian Ardinger. Brian Ardinger is an entrepreneur in residence at NUtech Ventures, and he's also the co-founder of The Big Plate, a collaborative community for entrepreneurs and startups. Today, he'll speak about the power of big experiences, and he'll ask us, if experiences are so important to our growth and development, why don't we do a better job at mapping out the experiences we want to create? He's also extremely talented, smart, good-looking, funny, great dad. Well, I know this because he's my husband. So please welcome Brian Ardinger.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, TEDx audience, and thank you, TEDx, for allowing me to stand on this circle and talk about one of my obsessions, and that's the power of big experiences. Not little experiences, no. The big experiences in our lives that get us to go to places we've never been before. The ones in your gut. The ones that are big and bold and inspiring. Albert Einstein, very smart individual, said that the only source of knowledge is experience. And that's not showing up there. He talked about, the only source of knowledge is experience. And with that, I truly believe that he was on the right path. Because if we think about it, how we learn and how we grow is through experience. Whether it's learning to not touch that hot stove when we're 2 months old, to bigger things as we grow. It's all about trying to find our way through the world. And the way to do that is to put ourselves into experiences along the way. We learn through experiences, and experiences are everywhere. So whether it's art, or architecture, or traveling, or the work that we do every day, experiences matter, and experiences are important. Because experiences give us context. When you look at a picture of the Eiffel Tower, it's significantly different than when you're standing in front of it. So it's important to take advantage of these experiences and create as many experiences as you can possibly have. And I think a lot of times we don't even realize how important experiences are. Think about when's the last time you went in and bought a $5 cup of coffee at Starbucks? Probably this morning or yesterday. Well, you really didn't spend $5 on a cup of coffee, you'll be glad to know. You spent $5 on a cup of coffee experience. You had an opportunity, think about the last time you went to a Husker game, to watch guys run around on a field and you're huddled together in the cold in the fall afternoon. Thousands of people screaming and things along those lines. You probably could have watched that game at home on your big screen TV and seen a better game, but we are wired for that experience. We are wired to be a part of that experience, to be a part of something bigger, to say, I was there. I had a part of that. And that's why experiences are important. And it's not just these big experiences. It's the experiences that last a lifetime. When you're on your deathbed and you're thinking back, I guarantee there'll be certain experiences in your life that you'll look back and say, those were the things that made me happy. Those were the things that made me go in a different direction. Those are the things that are important to me. Whether it's the day you were married, the day you had your first kid, running a marathon, playing with your kids, or even those magic moments just having dinner with friends and the good conversations that you have. That's why experiences are so important. But if experiences are so important, if we look back on our lives and these are the things that are important to us, why are we not more deliberate about making those experiences and creating experiences that have impact, not only on our lives, but others? So my obsession with experiences started about 20 years ago. Started innocently enough. It was, I decided to go on a vacation. So a friend of mine was living in Hong Kong and he said, hey, come on out, I want to spend 3 weeks traveling through China. Come and join me. And I said, okay, I'm a young guy, I've never been out of the country, but I'm ready for an adventure. So, got on a plane, 20 hours later, I'm landing at Kai Tak Airport. And I step out on the tarmac to a hot, muggy evening, to the sights and sounds and smells that are Asia. And I literally was transported into a foreign country, but in my mind I was transported into a foreign land that I wanted to be a part of. And it literally, on that time, when I stepped out of that plane, I realized I wanted to have more of this. I wanted to have these experiences that pushed me to the edge of my uncomfortableness and pushed me out into the world. So I figured out, well, how am I going to do this? And I'm still, at this point, being fairly safe. So I come back from my vacation, and I start plotting out a plan to get there. And I spend 2 years getting an MBA in international marketing, and I decide, okay, now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to take my big leap. So I bought a one-way ticket because I figured that's the way to do it. And I flew back over there. And I ended up knocking on some doors, and 30 days later I had a job, and I was living and working in the place that I desired to be and creating the experience that I wanted to have. Anybody who's traveled overseas or traveled or lived overseas knows that you're constantly being put into places where you are uncomfortable and constantly be putting into experiences that are different than what you're used to. And that's exhilarating because it allows you to build that muscle, that fear muscle, that so many of us either atrophy or go through life and not feel comfortable about building. So I spent 2.5 years there going through all sorts of experiences and that. My company eventually transferred me to Silicon Valley, and I fell into the trap of going through life. And I was on a good path. I was living the dream. I had a great car, a nice apartment. I had a great career path that I was supposed to be following to where I should go, but I wasn't happy. And in the end, I started looking back and why am I not happy in that? And it came down to I wasn't going through the experiences that I wanted to have. I wasn't being purposeful in the experiences that I want to create. So I started thinking, okay, well, when I was in Asia, one of the things that was important was I just was constantly being exposed to different things. And it could have been a little experience like, how do I get from point A to point B because I don't know the language and I don't know the proper bus to take or things like that, to much more bigger things like I need to find a team of people in Indonesia to do this report for me or things along those lines. So I started thinking about experiences and how important they are and what can I do to make this happen. And I started sharing this conversation with a couple friends and ended up talking to a good friend of mine I've known since first grade. He was living in LA at the time, and I said, I need to create something. I need to have a project that creates an experience, and will you come along with me? He goes, okay, what is it? I said, well, let's quit our jobs and travel around the United States, interviewing people about success in America and how did they get on their paths in life. And so we decided to create a project called Quest 4. This is kind of a big, bold experience. And not all experience projects have to be big and bold where you quit your job and you do something crazy. It's really about, experience projects can be something little, something like I want to run a marathon, or I want to learn a new skill. Or it could be something big like I want to start a business, or in this case, I want to quit my job and travel around the United States and make something of it. So we ended up spending about a year creating this project and carrying it out. The project was called Quest 4. And our job was really to go around the United States and interview as many people as we could from all walks of life about success in America and how did they get on their paths in life. And not interview the folks like Bill Gates or Warren Buffett because they weren't relatable to me and the people that we were talking to. So we wanted to talk to students and teachers and artists. So we started in LA, we interviewed a stunt woman in LA, a big game hunter in Wyoming, a schooner captain in Maine. We got to go to NBC Nightly News and interviewed Tom Brokaw's assistant, so she let us sit in the booth and watch it being made. We got to stand on the stage of Saturday Night Live and pretend we were hosting, those kind of things. We got to, more importantly, build a community as we went across the United States and share that experience. So the whole goal was, of course, we're going to have some great experiences from this particular project, but how do we share this? How do we make other people come along for the ride and help and build something? So we started a little community, and this was prior to Blogger, prior to all the social media stuff that you have today and all the great tools. We were literally in the middle of Wyoming trying to find a Burger King with a phone line that we could plug into and upload our interview for the day and hand coding HTML and things like that. But we did it. We spent 9 months on the road traveling around and building a community as we went around. So I want to talk about not just this experience, but what were the components of creating this experience and project? What are the key things that we need to have to create any experience project, whether it's something big and bold like this or something substantial in your own life? So the first component is obviously people. People, it's not just you. It's not just about you. Any experience that you have, it's more powerful if you can share it. So the first thing you have to have, I think, is some type of co-pilot. And it could be a co-founder, it could be your partner, your spouse. It could be it's somebody that really believes in you and has your back when you're leaning out the window and a little bit scared of where you're going. Now, this person doesn't have to go on the experience with you, but they just have to be there as part of it. So that's the first thing. Find somebody that you can count on to be a part of the experience. Secondly, look for some guides, look for some mentors. Don't be afraid to be the dumbest one in the room and say, I'd really like to do this, but I have no idea how to do it. You'd be surprised at the outpouring of support that people can provide when you just raise your hand and ask. So find some guides, find some mentors. we were lucky enough on the quest to literally, we just kind of sketched out where we wanted to go. We knew we wanted to go to all 48 states, but we really didn't have exact guide of who we were going to talk to in that along the way, or even where we were going to stay. So we literally started off, the first couple cities we had kind of planned out with our friends and family and such, but from then we let the road take us on the journey, and we let the community take us on the journey. And so when we got into a new city, it's like, who do you know that we should talk to that's doing some crazy stuff? And so we did this, and we allowed the community to go along and be part of the experience, and in turn, create the experience for myself and Chris. The second component, once you have the people, is places. And obviously in a project like Quest 4, places are a key component. Your environment's changing every day. You're in a different city every couple days. You're constantly being exposed to new things. But you can put this experience project and think about your place as a key component, because your environment plays such a key role in how you think and how you feel. I mean, if you go to work every day, take the exact same route to work, and you're in the same cubicle with the same people, you became a little bit stagnant. And that's where I came when I came back from the States. I got into this cubicle rut. But by exposing yourself to new people, traveling, being in different environments, even if you're not going to different countries, you have an opportunity to grow and learn. And we live in such a great place, Lincoln, Nebraska. We have so many great opportunities in this very room. We've got so many great people. I mean, I look at this audience, and we've got some power brokers here. We have people in this room that can make any of your experiences come true by just raising your hand and saying, how can I help? And the third thing is the things, the resources, the tools that you need. And again, on our project, we were early into the dot-com craziness that there was. We didn't have, Google wasn't even out at the time. So, being able to find where to go, or the tools that you have available today was a crazy mismatch. But that's one of the great things about creating experience projects today as well. You have all the resources you need, all the tools you need, mostly in the pocket of your own coat. You've got access to anybody in the world that you want to talk to help make your experiences and make your dreams come true. You have access to computers and people and resources that have never been in existence before in all of humanity. I look back and working in Hong Kong, and this was the dot-com craziness where we were building big websites for HSBC Bank and Cathay Pacific, and literally they're spending millions of dollars to build these websites that you can now set up in a weekend and host on Amazon for $5,000. So there's really no excuse for you to not take your own dreams and create your own projects with the tools and the people and the places that you have available to you. So with that, I leave you with a challenge. Experiences matter. And the experiences that matter to you may not be the same experiences that matter to me, but it's important to create your own destiny. Create the own experiences that you want to have, and take advantage of the tools and resources, the people and the places that you live in today. And with that, I'd like to thank you for letting me share my experience.
Very good. Oh, bravo, bravo.